Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
American football, a successful forward pass in football. A concluding action. American football, a successful forward pass in football. Approaching a particular destination, a coming closer, a narrowing of a gap. The ship's rapid rate of closing gave them little time to avoid a collision. The last section of a communication. Termination of operations. The act of closing something. A concluding action. Final or ending. The closing stages of the election. A final climactic stage. Their achievements stand as a culmination of centuries of development. The decisive moment in a novel or play. A concluding action. Astronomy, a heavenly body's highest celestial point above an observer's horizon. Finish a task completely. To wash or wipe with or as if with a mop. A concluding action. Defeat thoroughly. A concluding action. Operated by a mechanism. Wind up toys. An action aimed at evading an opponent. A deliberate coordinated movement requiring dexterity and skill. He made a great maneuver. A move made to gain a tactical end. Act in order to achieve a certain goal. He maneuvered to get the chairmanship. Perform a movement in military or naval tactics in order to secure an advantage in attack or defense. A plan for attaining a particular goal. Direct the course, determine the direction of traveling. A military training exercise. An action aimed at evading an opponent. A deliberate coordinated movement requiring dexterity and skill. A move made to gain a tactical end. Act in order to achieve a certain goal. Perform a movement in military or naval tactics in order to secure an advantage in attack or defense. A plan for attaining a particular goal. Direct the course, determine the direction of traveling. A military training exercise. Contend against an opponent in a sport, game, or battle. Princeton plays Yale this weekend. Pretend to have certain qualities or state of mind. She plays deaf when the news are bad. Manipulate manually or in one's mind or imagination. She played nervously with her wedding ring. A dramatic work intended for performance by actors on a stage. He wrote several plays but only one was produced on Broadway. The act using a sword, or other weapon, vigorously and skillfully. A weak and tremulous light. The play of light on the water. Gay or light-hearted recreational activity for diversion or amusement. It was all done in play. Activity by children that is guided more by imagination than by fixed rules. Freud believed in the utility of play to a small child. Consider not very seriously. She plays with the thought of moving to Tasmania. Cause to happen or to occur as a consequence. Play a joke. Replay, as a melody. She played the third movement very beautifully. Game. the activity of doing something in an agreed succession. It is still my play. Perform on a stage or theater. She acts in this play. Stake on the outcome of an issue. She played all her money on the dark horse. An attempt to get something. They made a futile play for power. A deliberate coordinated movement requiring dexterity and skill. The runner was out on a play by the shortstop. Engage in recreational activities rather than work. Occupy oneself in a diversion. On weekends I play. Cuz to emit recorded audio or video. I'll play you my favorite record. Movement or space for movement. There was too much play in the steering wheel. Behave carelessly or indifferently. The removal of constraints. They gave full play to the artist's talent. Engage in an activity as if it were a game rather than take it seriously. They played games on their opponents. The act of playing for stakes in the hope of winning, including the payment of a price for a chance to win a prize. There was heavy play at the blackjack table. Verbal wit or mockery, often at another's expense but not to be taken seriously. In games or plays or other performances, the time during which play proceeds. Rain stopped play in the fourth inning. Play a role or part. Gielgud played Hamlet. Act or have an effect in a specified way or with a specific effect or outcome. This factor played only a minor part in his decision. A preset plan of action in team sports. The coach drew up the plays for her team. A state in which action is feasible. The ball was still in play. A theatrical performance of a drama. The play lasted 2 hours. Be at play. Be engaged in playful activity. Amuse oneself in a way characteristic of children. The kids were playing outside all day. Behave in a certain way. Play safe. Be performed or presented for public viewing. What's playing in the local movie theater? Bet or wager, money. He played $20 on the new horse. Cuz to move or operate freely within a bounded space. The engine has a wheel that is playing in a rack. Discharge or direct or be discharged or directed as if in a continuous stream. Play water from a hose. Emit recorded sound. The tape was playing for hours. Employ in a game or in a specific position. They played him on first base. Exhaust by allowing to pull on the line. Play a hooked fish. Make bets. Play the casinos in Trouville. Move or seem to move quickly, lightly, or irregularly. The spotlights played on the politicians. Participate in games or sport. We played hockey all afternoon. Perform music on a musical instrument. He plays the flute. Perform on a certain location. The prodigy played Carnegie Hall at the age of 16. Play on an instrument. The band played all night long. Pretend to be somebody in the framework of a game or playful activity. Let's play like I am mommy. Put a card or piece into play during a game, or act strategically as if in a card game. He is playing his cards close to his chest. Shoot or hit in a particular manner. She played a good backhand last night. Use or move. I had to play my queen. Use to one's advantage. She plays on her client's emotions. Utilization or exercise. The play of the imagination. Event whose occurrence ends something. His death marked the ending of an era. The end of a word, a suffix or inflectional ending or final morpheme. I don't like words that have ism as an ending. The act of ending something. The last section of a communication. The point in time at which something ends. The ending of warranty period. The end of a word, a suffix or inflectional ending or final morpheme. The act of ending something. The termination of the agreement. A coming to an end of a contract period. A place where something ends or is complete. Something that results. Event whose occurrence ends something. The proposition arrived at by logical reasoning, such as the proposition that must follow from the major and minor premises of a syllogism. The act of making up your mind about something. He drew his conclusions quickly. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. His conclusion took the evidence into account. The act of ending something. The last section of a communication. In conclusion, I want to say. The temporal end, the concluding time. A final settlement. The conclusion of a business deal. An intuitive assumption. Jump to a conclusion. The act of finalizing. The act of finalizing. A decorative texture or appearance of a surface, or the substance that gives it that appearance. The boat had a metallic finish. Event whose occurrence ends something. When these final episodes are broadcast, it will be the finish of the show. Finish eating all the food on one's plate or on the table. Finally, be or do something. The temporal end, the concluding time. The market was up at the finish. A highly developed state of perfection, having a flawless or impeccable quality. Almost an inspiration which gives to all work that finish which is almost art. Have an end, in a temporal, spatial, or quantitative sense, either spatial or metaphorical. The act of finishing. His best finish in a major tournament was third. Come or bring to a finish or an end. He finished the dishes. The place designated as the end, as of a race or journey. A crowd assembled at the finish. Cause to finish a relationship with somebody. That finished me with Mary. Designated event that concludes a contest, especially a race. Excitement grew as the finish neared. Provide with a finish. The carpenter finished the table beautifully. The downfall of someone, as of persons on one side of a conflict. Booze will be the finish of him. Wine tasting. The taste of a wine on the back of the tongue, as it is swallowed. The wine has a nutty flavor and a pleasant finish. The act of bringing to completion or fruition. The completion of marriage by sexual intercourse. A decorative texture or appearance of a surface, or the substance that gives it that appearance. The act of finishing. The speaker's finishing was greeted with applause. Carrying some project or intention to full completion. I appreciated his follow-through on his promise. The act of carrying a stroke to its natural completion. His follow-through was straight down the line toward the target. The act of arranging in grades. An academic exercise in which diplomas are conferred. A line, as on a vessel or ruler, that marks a measurement. The ruler had 16 graduations per inch. The successful completion of a program of study. A game played by two teams of 11 players on a rectangular field 100 yards long. Teams try to get possession of the ball and advance it across the opponent's goal line in a series of running or passing plays. A game played by two teams of 11 players on a rectangular field 100 yards long. Teams try to get possession of the ball and advance it across the opponent's goal line in a series of running or passing plays.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.